Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi, hey, hello. I am freezing. I have like 5 blankets on right now. Inshallah, we're gonna push through it. Subhanallah, one of the best, most beautiful things about being a Muslim and about the Quran being our holy book is that you cannot really make a mistake on the original Quran without like everybody knowing it. Alhamdulillah. So before I get fully started on correcting the mistake that I made in my previous video, I do want to touch on a couple of things that I'm seeing talked about a lot in the comment section. First and foremost, this is not the Quran. This is a translation of the Quran. The Holy Quran in today's English is not the Quran. I have highlighted in here, I have put notes in the sides, I have thrown it in my bag, I read it and I touch it and I mess with it whenever I'm menstruating. This is not the Quran, and there are not rules, there are not regulations that come with handling translations of the Quran. And the only reason I want to address that is because first and foremost, it's really important for us to know the difference between translations of the Quran and the actual Quran. And there are a lot of converts, a lot of reverts, and a lot of people who are just looking into the religion and who are reading translations of the Quran right now. And if you're diving into their comment section, convoluting it with a bunch of rules and regulations and advising that really doesn't apply to that sister or that brother at that time, then it's not really doing all that much good. Let's get into it. You're reading from 227 and 228. It's not the full ayat. I'm confused. Thank you so much, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan, for actually helping me and pointing that out. I am reading from a really dense translation, and it has all the tafsir. So I read the tafsir number and not the ayat number. Astaghfirullah. I am so sorry. But to be clear, I had a lot of people also saying that this was not Surah Al-Baqarah. It is. This is Surah Baqarah. Oop, the cow right there. It just looks different because this is a translation and not the actual Quran. Beep, 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 beep. So I was asked to read from Surah Al-Baqarah 191 through 193. I'm actually going to include ayat 190 as well. This specific revelation was revealed to the Muslims and pertains to whenever it becomes necessary for them to defend themselves. Bismillah. Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you, but don't go beyond the limits of humane conduct, for truly Allah has no love for those who go beyond the limits. Fight the idol worshippers wherever they're found, and drive them out from where they drove you out, for oppression is worse than killing. But don't engage them at the sacred mosque in Mecca, unless they attack you there first. If they do, then slay them, for that's the reward of those who suppress their awareness of the truth and do wrong on account of it. Though if they cease their aggression, then remember that Allah is forgiving and merciful. If they continue to practice this oppression, fight them until oppression is no more and Allah's way of life prevails. If they seek peace, then you seek it as well. Continue to pursue the persistent wrongdoers among them. Subhanallah. Now, I find that to be pretty clear, but for some reason, a lot of people like to use this verse to try to deter us and make it out like Islam and Muslims are violent. And that is where tafsir comes in. So here's the tafsir for verse 190. Here's the first important usage of the Arabic word qital, which means to battle, to kill, or to fight. There's a myth among critics of Islam that this verse is ordering Muslims to kill all non-believers. Such a proposition is preposterous and unsubstantiated. Any person with even limited comprehension skills can see this verse as giving permission to fight back against those who attack you and oppress you first. After this verse, 192 clearly defines when fighting must end, which is when the enemy is no longer threatening and attacking you. There is another myth also, and that is that the word jihad is the Arabic term for a holy war. Besides the fact that there is no such religious term in Arabic for holy war, the word jihad literally means to struggle or to strive in a cause, whether physical, spiritual, or mental. You can also look at Revelations in the Quran 6:109, where the root form of jihad is used, 25:52, where it's specifically used to promote intellectual defenses. One must clearly question the motives of critics of Islam, who chose to quote or misquote these parts of verses and passages without including the surrounding verses that are explaining the text as a whole. The original person who asked this question. Have they considered passages from the Bible, such as Exodus 22:20, in which it states unequivocally that pagans all must be killed? This passage was revealed 6 years after the Prophet and his followers had left hostile Mecca for the safe refuge of Medina, One night the Prophet had seen himself in a dream leading pilgrims back to Mecca to perform pilgrimage. After a large party of Muslims led by Muhammad appeared in the hills outside of Mecca, the alarmed Meccans kept the Muslims from entering their city, even though it was customary Arab truce month. Some Muslims were concerned that the hostile Meccans might take the opportunity to attack them. However, a Meccan convoy concluded a truce deal with the Prophet. This treaty stipulated that Muslims had to turn back and would not be allowed to complete the journey to Mecca that year, but the following year they would be allowed to enter the city for 3 days to perform their rites. As the following year approached, there was discussion and concern at the Muslims as to whether or not the pagan Quraysh would continue to uphold their end of this bargain. The passage was revealed about this concern, and it informed the Prophet that if the Meccans re-engaged on the deal and attacked the pilgrims on their journey, they did have prior permission to fight back if necessary. Islam accepts the concept of a just war. The commentators are unanimous in saying that this verse allows fighting against an enemy that attacks Muslims unprovoked, but it also stipulates that Muslims' side must exhibit self-control and not go beyond the limits of humane contact during wartime. I hope that answers your question. I'm going to pack my stuff up, go inside and warm up, and mind my business. As should you. Maybe. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.